An extended version of this video with no ads, longer song samples, and additional thoughts is available on NebulAGH. This video is also sponsored by NebulAGH, more on them later.
Welcome back to the deep DISCOG dive. Be quiet now, I'm bird watching. In fact, I think I can spot a Chicago and Chancellor right over there.
Today, we're talking about Chance the Rapper. Let's dive in.
Chance the Rapper. We're both Chance the Rapper. No, I get it.
April 1993 in Chicago, Illinois, Chancellor Jonathan Bennett was born. Both of his parents were in politics. His father worked for people like Harold Washington and Barack Obama, and his mother worked for the state's attorney general. Before you start thinking this is the birth of Chance the politician though, don't worry. His home was often filled with music, old school soul, jazz, and disco running through the halls. Chancellor's first musical obsession was Michael Jackson, but the real turning point was his first time hearing Kanye West's The College Dropout. It was that album that made Chancellor want to be a rapper. By middle school, he was writing and performing music. By prep high school, he was nicknamed Chano and making music with friends. He and some of those friends operated under the Save Money Collective. Chance, Vic Mensa, Nico Siegel, Tokyo, Joey Perp.
We used to go to this after school program and literally just be kids rapping.
Who else is in your scene? Wilco?
Shout out to Wilco. They're a little bit older, but
he was also recording his music at the U Media space at the Harold Washington Library.
Support your local library.
As he grew as a young artist, though, he was meeting friction from teachers and the educational system around him. This came to a head in spring 2011 when he was suspended after possessing weed on school grounds. The total suspension period lasted... I mean, that's not grammatically correct, but you get the point. Chance made a mixtape inspired by his suspension, 10 Day, released in April 2012. 10 Day's greatest value to us looking back is how it lays the foundational elements for all future Chance projects. First up, catchphrases. On the opener, 14,400 minutes, oh, because that's 10 days, oh. It has the first instance of the Chance though it's got a bit more of a scoop to it at this early stage. According to Chance, that ad-lib was a nervous tick of his, but he was encouraged to keep it in the recording by Mac Miller.
And I'm trying to like charge up and I'm going, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready. Start it over. And Mac told somebody to tell me through the intercom to keep that at the beginning.
Nostalgia is about nostalgia.
I thought it was about a piece of cheese.
Being young, hanging out with friends. This might be the only time Jeepers has been referenced in music.
Remember Jeepers and Odyssey Fun World?
On the complete flip side, Missing You is about a friend of Chance's who was stabbed and killed right in front of him. A lot of Chance's lyrics going forward will be about these two topics, the good old days as a kid or losing loved ones. In terms of production, this guy is freaky. Long Time and Long Time 2 sample Beirut. The former is Chance just rapping over Beirut's non, and the latter has some extra instrumentation. Peter Cottondale on keys and Nico Siegel on trumpets. Prom Night works wonders with a sample of So Good So Right by Brenda Russell. Nostalgia's instrumental is The Human Nature by MF Love. MF Doom's evil twin, who's to say? Hell, we even get Chance rapping over Waka Flocka Flame's F This Industry on F You Tom Bout. 10 Day might not be the most polished mixtape. I swear some of these beats are just MP3s that he pulled from YouTube, but it has something that can never be taught. Energy. You never get the sense that Chance is bored or phoning it in. Finding reviews for 10 Day when it released is like finding a thing that doesn't exist, but what was there was solid. Most notably, before the mixtape came out, Complex put him on a list of Chicago rappers to keep an eye on. Buzz was growing for Chance and other folks in Save Money, not just in Chicago, but in places outside of Chicago, of which I can only name 5. In July 2012, Chance got his first big cosign from rapper/short filmmaker Childish Gambino. Chance was on They Don't Like Me from Royalty, and he went on tour with Gambino. The rollout for Chance's second mixtape kicked off in early 2013, 2 singles in advance, plus bookings at South by Southwest and Lollapalooza. There was a homegrown energy that was carrying Chance through this year, not only with his own hometown connections, but also blogs of the time like Fake Shore Drive and Passion of the Weiss. In April 2013, Chance released Acid Rap. Guess what drug he was on when he was making it?
Acrevastine.
This is chronologically where a young Mike came onto the Chance the Rapper the train. The first time I heard Chance, it was seeing the music video for Good Ass Intro on a Stereo Gum post. Remember what I said about 10 Day having energy? Good Ass Intro shows that the line was going straight up from there. I love the part where he just starts swearing like Madonna on Letterman.
I'm the motherfucking fucking niggas dumb. It's your finger out mine. Even done, I'm good.
Pusha Man has one of the smoothest synth lines I've heard this side of the Mississippi. It also has another one of Chance's trademark catchphrases. Where exactly that one came from, I'm not sure, but it does fit Chance's vibe, specifically his common fixation on nostalgia and childhood. You'll find more excellent beats on songs like Cocoa Butter Kisses and Juice.
It's been a while since I've heard Juice. Let's see if it's as good as I remember.
Hey, so I really wanted Juice to be on the mixtape, but I couldn't get it cleared in time.
So good.
Juice is not on the standard mixtape on streaming due to sample issues, but it is on the recent re-release for the mixtape's anniversary. That version also restores the 28 seconds between Pusha Man and the secret track Paranoia, in case you were looking for a reason to hope again. Nana samples Red Clay. But just because Chance is out here hopping around like a kid who just learned what the F word is, doesn't mean it's all fun and games. Lost has him and No Name trading bars about passionless romance, Acid Rain is a sober reflection of all the things Chance has learned in life, and Paranoia describes the danger baked into life in Chicago.
I think one secret to Chance's success with Acid Rap and future projects is how he's able to shift easily between different tones in his music.
1 second, he's swearing with all the exuberance of a 10-year-old hopped up on sugar. The next, he's soberly laying out the reality of life in his hometown. It's that juxtaposition that makes the closer, Everything's Good, so freaking good. 2 mixtapes in, and Chance was proving himself as a shape-shifting musical talent. Acid Rap got stellar reviews and blew Chance up. This mixtape was so popular that bootleg sales off iTunes and Amazon got it on the Billboard album chart. Labels tried courting him, but Chance chose to stay independent, something that became a core tenet of his brand. Chance proceeded to wild out promotionally for the next 12 months. He toured with 2 Macs, 1 Miller, and 1 Colmore and Ryan Lewis. His Lolla performance in the summer brought in a huge crowd. His first headlining tour in the fall got rave reviews. He played Coachella in April 2014, and just over a year after Acid Rap, Chance was chosen to be part of the XXL 2014 freshman class. Damn, I'm on my Chance shit. I feel like the rapper.
I wanted to highlight the live aspect because around this time, Chance's live band started to develop its own identity.
Nico Siegel, aka Donnie Trumpet, Peter Cottondale, Nate Fox, Greg Sticks Landfair Jr., these dudes together would be known as The Social Experiment. The first release to properly credit The Social Experiment was in July 2014, a cover of the Arthur theme song that the band and Chance had been playing live.
Back in my college radio days, this was the song that would close every show that I did. I have a lot of sentimental feelings towards it.
If you ever want me to pay you $4, play this section of the song to my face and also ears. The second release from the band would be much larger in scope. Later in 2014, their debut project was announced, and it was called Surf. While Chance would be on the project, he was quick to stress that this was not his next mainline mixtape or, God forbid, his debut album.
However, Surf would need a few more months in the tank before it could release. So let's check in on what Chance was up to in this interim.
On the personal end, Chance relocated to Los Angeles. He rented out a mansion nicknamed the Coy Castle, and he split the lease with James Blake, except James doesn't remember that at all. Chance pretty much moved between hanging with other musicians like Frank Ocean and J. Cole, blasting gospel music, music, kicking it with the ladies, and doing loads of Xanax. On the musical side, first was a verse on James Blake's Life Round Here. I remember thinking how cool and neat this was. Two artists I would have never put together being put together. Life is astonishing. Then there was his verse on Justin Bieber's Confident off his R&B album that some actually consider to be his best. I should check that out sometime. Oh, how could I forget his verse on Action Bronson's Baby Blue? This one is just fun.
I hope you never get off Fridays and you work at a Fridays that's always busy on Fridays.
And then there was Kaylon. Oh, Surf is out. Yep, out of nowhere in May 2015, Surf was released as an iTunes exclusive. Aren't we fancy? Now, I'm calling Surf a bonus because it's not a Chance project in name, but I'm covering it because he's on the majority of songs.
Also, I like Surf, and I have feelings about it. And I like talking about things that make me feel feelings.
Being a social experiment project, the live band feel is the strongest it's been on any Chance-adjacent project. The orchestration is also strong here, especially on Miracle, Windows, and the lovely instrumental Nothing Came to Me. Shout out to the music video / teaser trailer featuring Cara Delevingne. Now, when Chance does pop up, he does great work as usual, like on Familiar and Warm Enough, but he's not exactly the same Chance we saw on Acid Rap.
Chance's bars on Surf feel more mature to me.
They're dense, more about painting a picture. I don't know if the Chance of Acid Rap would rap a line like, "Who are you to tell me I don't want you the way flesh wants freedom, the way greed loves need, the way kings need kingdoms." And when Chance isn't on the track, it's, take your pick of hip-hop musicians active in the mid-2010s. Busta Rhymes, Jeremiah, Dram, Saba, Sizable Sean, No Name Janelle Monáe, Erykah Badu, whoever says slide funny on Slip Slide. So if there's one song that scores a gnarly hang 10, it's Sunday Candy. Certainly the social experiment's crowning achievement and one of Chance's best songs. In 2016, Chance would say that his follow-up to Acid Rap was inspired by God, Love, Chicago, and Dance. And Sunday Candy feels like the first taste of what that would sound like.
Chase for the candy, your peppermints is the truth. I'm pessimistic on Monday.
Maybe it's not required listening, but Surf is a lovely little album. At the very least, Sunday Candy. Go listen to that, it'll make your day. Surf got excellent reviews that summer, and in the fall, Chance went out on the Family Matters tour. It was in that fall of 2015 when we also started getting new singles from Chance, all of which debuted on late night TV. I liked this trend. Kendrick did the same thing around this time too. Angels with Saba got its premiere on Colbert in October. Somewhere in Paradise first aired on SNL in December. That second one sadly isn't available on streaming anymore. I wonder why that is. I no longer wonder why that is. But the big kahuna of late night music premieres came in February 2016. Chance got the cosign from the guy who kept him from becoming Chance the Any Other Profession, Kanye West. Chance got a verse on Kanye's Ultralight Beam off The Life of Pablo, a verse that was recognized as one of the best parts of that album.
I make Sunday Candy, I'm never going to hell. I make Kanye West, I'm never going to fail.
Okay, I know we can laugh about that line now, given where Chance would end up in a few years, but let me reframe it in this way. That was the last time anyone could say that. That was the last time anyone could say, because they met Kanye West, they would never fail.
But anyway, yes, back then, Chance getting anointed by Kanye was a big deal, and he was pretty quick to capitalize on it. A few months later, in May 2016, Chance released his third mixtape, Coloring Book, as an Apple Music exclusive, no less. While that meant it wasn't a free mixtape like the last two, it did make it eligible for chart placement and Grammy nominations. Like I said before, Chance's influences for Coloring Book were God, Love, Chicago, and Dance. Following his stint at the Coy Castle, Chance moved back to Chicago to reconnect with his roots. He also reconnected with his old girlfriend, and they mutually connected with a baby daughter. They had a kid is what I'm saying. The presence of this new child and her unfortunate atrial flutter led Chance to pray a lot more and develop his faith further. Now, how does that apply to Coloring Book? First, there's a major gospel influence on it. It's immediately apparent on the opener All We Got, featuring Kanye, I get you're excited to be here, but can you quiet down a bit on that entrance? That'd be great, thank you. You can hear more of the gospel on tracks like Blessings, How Great, and ooh, Finish Line. It really makes you feel like Donkey Kong about to get first place in Mario Kart. And then the second half called Drown, with a verse from No Name and preaching from Kirk Franklin. Lovely stuff. But if you're looking for non-God-fearing music, there are plenty of secular tunes to satiate you, like the Chicago Love Letter Angels, the stellar dance track All Night, and the big single No Problem. Gotta say, this is one of the funnier songs here, if only because the chorus is basically Chance saying, if a label stops me from doing what I want, I will send my guys to mess them up. Quick intermission. Quieter moments exist too, like the piano ballad Same Drugs and the chill bop Summer Friends. Intermission over, let's dance again. By now, it should be clear, Coloring Book is a frickin' party. Between the lively production and the number of guest stars, Chance's third mixtape reflects how far he had come in just a few short years. The reprise of Blessings that closes the album out is basically Chance saying, I've put in work, I've got cosigns from my idols, I'm about to become the biggest thing in music. Was that true?
Speaking for myself, Coloring Book's reception in my circles, so like friends and Stereo Gum comments, was a bit muted compared to acid rap. I think the two big points of contention were the heavy religious influence and the also heavy number of guests, neither of which really soured my enjoyment. I still like the mixtape a good deal.
In the grand scheme, Coloring Book did pretty damn well, especially since it was locked to Apple Music for the first 2 weeks and then moved to other places. It was the first streaming-only release to chart on the Billboard Top 200. In September, he hosted a one-day festival called Magnificent Coloring Day in Chicago. Not only did he perform, but there was also Tyler the Creator, Young Thug, Alicia Keys, John Legend, Lil Wayne, Shmorbo, 2 Chainz. Coloring Book's last big achievement was becoming the first streaming-only release to win a Grammy in 2017. Chance also won Best New Artist, and he did a stellar medley of songs from the mixtape.
Like, I'm sorry to post cringe or to express hope on the internet, but look at this. Look at how happy he looks after he waves. Like, come on. What are we doing this music thing for, if not for this feeling?
Those Grammy wins kicked off one hell of a victory lap for Chance, and it lasted for basically all of 2017. In May, he popped up on DJ Khaled's I'm the One, which became his first #1 hit. In June, he became the youngest recipient of BET's Humanitarian Award. And in December, he returned to SNL not to perform, but to host. The one sour thing I remember with Chance this year is when news came out that he managed to get MTV News to scrub a negative review of Coloring Book. Or more accurately, he and his manager Pat Corcoran said they would never work with MTV again, and MTV wiped it in response. That's unfortunate, but at least we got Chance in the season opener of Wild 'N Out.
Man, you say I can't come to Chicago? Man, you should keep that. You ain't got no balls. I guess that's why they gave you a Kit Kat.
Nick Cannon, don't mess around like that. I've seen Chance the Rapper take blood. 2018 was comparatively quiet. The only new music we got was a series of 4 singles shadow dropped in July. My personal favorite is I Might Need Security, not only for its minimalist Arthur Fist, but for its sample where a woman, hold up, that's Jamie Foxx, lovingly sings "F you." On this song, Chance revealed he bought a local publication called The Chicagoist. I wish I could tell you more, but as far as I could tell from my research, nothing has happened with that. And so now we enter the year 2019, the harbinger of doom and destruction for our beloved Chancellor. And nothing says doom and destruction like a lovely ceremony to celebrate 2 people's love. In March 2019, Chance got married to the woman he had a daughter with. Yet another win to pile on top of all of his other wins. And this event got him to do something unthinkable: make an album. Following his marriage, Chance started to tease his first proper album. At first, this album would have been a full-on collab with Kanye West called Good Ass Job. However, Kanye would soon shift his attention to Yandhi and bullshit, and he would have no credits on Chance's album. Official details about the album were revealed in mid-July on Jimmy Fallon.
Now, this might be hindsight playing tricks on me, but did anyone else find this kind of odd?
Why would you announce a new album on a late-night talk show? I mean, I guess it makes sense. Talk shows are places where people go to talk about the things they're working on. I don't know, has anyone announced an album on one before? I looked it up and there are a handful of cases. Ariana announced details about Sweetener on Fallon in 2018. Brad Paisley did the same on Kimmel for a 2012 album. And Adam Levine recently did it on Fallon for Maroon 5's latest album. Is that a club you want to be part of? Ariana's best album, in my opinion, and also 2 random-ass albums from Brad Paisley and Maroon 5? Maybe you could say that this rollout made sense considering how he used to turn to late-night TV to premiere songs, but I don't know. To me, there's a difference between premiering a song that people get to hear right then and there versus merely announcing details about a project that isn't out yet. Show, don't tell, I suppose.
My point is, from the jump, the rollout for Chance's first album didn't feel right.
Just a few days after Fallon, Chance dropped his first album, The Big Day.
We're entering loaded territory here, so to start, I just want to go through the first couple of tracks.
All Day Long, solid. The same kind of exuberant opener that we saw on Acid Rap and Coloring Book. Plus, John Legend. Dude sounds great. I do admit the production feels a little too clean for me, but hey, it's Chance's album debut. Gotta flex the budget, no worries. Do you remember? A nice chill song that once again looks back on childhood days. Also, what a wild ass pick to get Ben Gibbard of Death Cab for Cutie on here to sing the hook. But I respect it, his voice fits the vibe. And hey, Eternal, that's a good ass jam. Smino's got a guest verse. I cannot stress this enough. Hot Shower is the single biggest drop in quality I've heard on an album in the past 10 years. Let's describe the beat. There isn't one. I get it's a standard trap beat, and I suppose it's cool to see Chance experiment with a modern sound, but it just doesn't fit with Chance, and Chance doesn't fit on it. He sounds annoying. In my mind, this is what people who don't like Chance think he sounds like.
I know I am not the first person to complain about Hot Shower, but I'm singling it out because the album just never gets its groove back fully after it.
Doesn't mean there are no more good songs after it. Hot Shower is immediately followed by We Go High, a jazzy, introspective track about Chance's relationship with his wife. I like it. I also like the sample of Navi from Ocarina of Time. There's also Let's Go on the Run, with Knox Fortune coming back after his standout beat on Coloring Book. This one isn't as good as All Night, but it's a fun time. 5-Year Plan, Town on the Hill, Get a Bag. It's not like The Big Day is devoid of good.
I'm sorry, is that a James Taylor sample?
Telling you now you're my only one.
Do any other rappers like James Taylor? Does Westside Gunn secretly bump Shower the People before gigs? But if there are good songs, then why does The Big Day get big hate? For one thing, this thing is bursting at the seams. It's like your uncle who eats way too much at the wedding and then he's keeled over in his chair while everyone else is dancing. 22 tracks in total, you could cut 12 of them and nothing would be lost. Another thing, man did Chance invite a lot of people to his wedding. I know people take umbrage with the amount of guests on Coloring Book, but at least they all made sense being there. On The Big Day, some guests make sense, like Megan Thee Stallion and Gucci Mane. Some are interesting wild cards, like Ben Gibbard and Randy Newman, and some are Shawn Mendes, who shouldn't be on this album at all.
I mentioned before how Chance's superpower was his ability to move between different tones in his music. But the big issue with The Big Day, for me, is how those different tones felt more like contradictions. And hey, contradiction can be a big part of music. Many of our greatest artists have made great art that wrestles with and reflects on their own contradictions. Music itself can be contradiction, tension, release, dissonance, consonance.
But I don't know who The Big Day is for. The hip-hop heads of 2019 who were bumping Pop Smoke and Travis Scott weren't gonna like this cleaned-up gospel house sound. Die-hard Chance fans wouldn't like him getting buried under all the guest artists. My mom would like the James Taylor sample, but she'd hate all the swearing. I like the production on the title track from Francis and the Lights, but my ass bursts out laughing when I hear Chance go,
Oh my God.
It's a case of an artist trying to be both who they are now and who they used to be. The Big Day is not god-awful, but it is frustrating and it is a letdown.
Every so often, a work comes along that fundamentally reshapes how you view an artist. And I don't mean a work made by the artist themselves. I mean someone else makes something that forever warps the artist's public perception. I'm thinking of Chris Fleming's stand-up bit about St. Vincent.
Her melodies are all head and no heart. It sounds like somebody dialing a British telephone number.
And I'm a fan of St. Vincent. But he's not wrong. On July 30th, 2019, a song came out that forever changed how I viewed Chance the Rapper. That song was I Love My Wife bonus track by the YouTube channel Charlie Winsmore.
Ooh, I love my wife. I love my wife. Let's go ride a bike with my wife.
For better or worse, this is what I think of when I think of Chance. Press reviews at the time for the big day actually leaned more positive, but go over to Reddit and you would find a desecrated battlefield. I do remember that the tone around the album shifted hard after Melon Man gave it a 0. I think we as a people like a good fall from grace story, just as much as we like a good underdog story. I remember covering MJ earlier this year and learning how much people were sick of him around the time Bad released. And that was the album Bad, which was good. A record as mixed as The Big Day had no chance. Maybe it was the time it released too, not to wade into real world politics too much, but I feel like Acid Rap and Coloring Book came out in more hopeful times in America, and The Big Day came out in early summer 2019. That was the year of Baby Shark and Game of Thrones' final season. Need I say more? Chance did have a tour lined up for The Big Day, but it was postponed and then canceled so we could spend more time with family. I wish I could say things were gonna get better from here, but 2020 was an awkward year for Chance. In February, he was announced as the host of the Kids' Choice Awards. That didn't happen because of COVID, but at least we got this image of Chance in the SpongeBob universe. This is real. This is a real thing that would have happened if not for COVID. But there was one force that even COVID couldn't beat. Quibi. Chance became the host of the Punk'd reboot on Quibi. Always remember, you were alive at the same time as the Punk'd Quibi Fortnite event, and whether you attended or not is what will determine if you get into heaven. On the more unfortunate end, he and his manager Pat Corcoran split in April, but they kept in touch. Hey, a lawsuit is technically a way of keeping in touch with someone. Pat sued Chance for $3 million in unpaid commissions. Apparently, their whole relationship up to this point was based on a verbal agreement, and according to Pat, Chance allegedly went back on that agreement. This case is still ongoing, by the way. It's going to trial at some point. I think the only truly bright spot for Chance in 2020 was his guest verse on Justin Bieber's Holy, which ended up being a big hit. But in March 2021, things started moving again, beginning with the one-off release of The Heart and the Tongue. More and more songs were released, songs that were way more in line sonically and thematically with Coloring Book and even Surf. And all of these songs were building to a new album called... In August 2025, Chance released his second album, Starline. Let's get some quick things out of the way. He does not reference the Dimsdale Dimmadome, Shawn Mendes is not on the album, and he does not go... So this is by default better than The Big Day. But is that enough? What does Chance the Rapper have to offer us after all this time? Well, we're all gonna have some therapy. Starline is definitely more on the mournful side of Chance the Spectrum, and there are a lot of reasons for why that is, most of which you could probably guess, but there's one reason I haven't talked about yet. I wanted to hold off on mentioning this, but yeah, Chance and his wife divorced in 2024. The Chance of Starline is wearier. A lot of songs on here speak frankly about love lost, depression, death, community struggles, and even when he mentions some nostalgic memory, it's usually to serve the story.
I used to play Street Fighter with my play cousin. Now the streets are how you playing with your real cousin.
That line comes from No More Old Men, where Chance talks about how young men in Chicago don't live to see old age. Jamila Woods is back too, and she sounds great. Letters is fierce.
Chance rapping about mega churches and other religious institutions that serve themselves before God. I love how all the verses end with him cutting himself off and just saying, I'm on my way. Back to the Go has Chance and Vic Mensa co-contemplating about difficult journeys and starting over again.
When I heard this guy sing back to Chicago, I thought that was a Joe sample for a second. I know it's not, but still.
Oh yeah, I filmed my first listen to Starline. It's over on Nebula, link in the description. Also, and he back to making great closers, because Speed of Love with Jasmine Sullivan is a somber reflection of love coming and going in life. Beautiful stuff. That said, it's not slow going the whole time. Ride not only has a simmering groove of a beat, but also the year's best auto-panned AGH.
Let's go Lego, we connect, we done overcame, got through that maze.
And Burn Ya Block does indeed burn the block. Personally though, the middle of the album sags for me. Like the stretch from Space and Time to Tree. The latter was the big single from the album, and honestly I just don't click with it. I like how Chance sings in general, but the way he sings the chorus on this song grates on me real quick. But I will admit, the way he sings the word tree specifically is funny.
Because it is a tree.
Because of that stretch, I don't know if I'd call Starline a masterpiece, but it is not only a good-ass album, but also a promising indication of where Chance could go from here. If nothing else, he is certainly better than he was the last time.
Send this to a rapper. Hey, my little rapper, you're killing it. I heard you're up for a Grammy. Ooh, I hope you win.
Starline's reviews ranged from solid to great, but the thing everyone agreed on is that Chance had bounced back. Considering the album is super new, not much has happened since its release. The only thing of note is that Chance just wrapped a tour.
If you want to get into Chance the Rapper, I'd highly recommend Acid Rap as your first listen, then check out Coloring Book and Starline after that.
Despite everything Chance went through, the highs and the lows, it should be commended how he stayed independent through it all. Even to this day, he still hasn't signed with a label. His story is a testament to what can happen when people come together outside of traditional means to make great things. Which brings me to Nebula. Nebula is a creator-owned streaming service. If you watch me, then you probably also watch Todd in the Shadows, Polyphonic, Middle 8, Synthet, Adam Neely. Subscribing to Nebula means you can support our work, along with folks like Philosophy Tube, Legal Eagle, Patrick H. Willems. Plus, you get access to a massive catalog of exclusive videos and series. Recently, I've been watching Amy's Dead End Dream House, a variety series where Amy and her appliances try to navigate adult life. Hey Amy, how many times have you listened to I Love My Wife bonus track?
Hundreds.
Nebula offers traditional monthly and yearly memberships, or if you really want to pull a big day, take Nebula to be your lawfully wedded streaming service with a lifetime membership, which is currently 40% off this holiday season. You can also share the love with family and friends with Nebula gift cards, the perfect stocking stuffer. And get this, just recently, Nebula announced 3-day free trials. I dare you to try to get through everything on Nebula in those 3 days. Hell, I triple dog double dare you, which means you're legally required to try it out now. Click the link in the description to get 40% off an annual subscription to Nebula. That's $36 a year or just $3 a month. You want to add anything, Chicago and Chancellor?